So it's often said that most careers will need international experience at some point, and I think it's really important because there's a lot of subtle things you learn and are forced to confront when you're working abroad that will help your career even when you're back in the States or back in your country, wherever that is, that you wouldn't have realized, and they're often very subtle. The first and the hardest one, and I have a great personal experience with this, is that things often have different meanings. So in English, we wouldn't think it was very offensive to say to somebody, after you'd explain something, do you understand? It's a way of asking, did you do it? Well, in Spanish, the words me entiendes are actually very offensive. It implies that they may not be smart enough to understand it. So instead of saying, did you understand? You say, did I explain myself? Very subtle, but I was maybe 6 months into working in Mexico before a friend of mine finally stopped me and said, look, you can't say that to people, it's offensive. Second, career paths are different. What a job means and where it leads to in different countries go different ways. The expectation of management training in the US may not be the same. And so understand the job you're going to get and how that's related both to what you might pursue at that company or that country, and also how it translates back into the US. And lastly, you're going to be the American. So you got to accept that role, and part of that's really good. Often a lot of companies, particularly in developing countries, like having an American. English is the language, but sometimes it means you're there as the token American. And so both understand the implication and embrace it. Working abroad, I think, is a great experience. I think a lot of us are going to have that, whether we want it or not, whether it's as simple as a Skype relationship with someone in India or actually moving abroad. But the differences are subtle. I lived in China before Mexico, and it was so different it didn't even occur to me that it was going to be the same. But a place like Mexico that I thought I knew, I grew up in LA, I thought I understood, had some real subtle differences, and it's important to pick them up and be aware of them.